Today, we're going to talk about the high-stakes decision that can make or break your case. When you decide whether to go as a class action in your litigation or mass tort action. Let's talk about it. Many times when I'm dealing with an injured client going against a billion-dollar defendant, the odds are really difficult in that particular circumstance. In order to make these actions less complicated for plaintiffs bringing forward their cases and less costly for plaintiffs and defendants, the courts will allow certain circumstances to move forward in a class action setting sometimes or a mass tort setting on certain occasions. Now, there are different consequences and different rules with which you have to abide by in order to qualify for those types of circumstances. And we're going to talk just generally speaking with regards to why it makes sense to do this, and then the decisions that clients have to make with regards to going for a mass tort versus class action. A perfect example of this is our current litigation that we have going up against Google Incognito. This involves potentially millions of plaintiffs across the country. We're representing a whole bunch of these guys. The interesting part is I see lots of commercials online, on television even now, people advertising for the class action resolution. Now, we are representing thousands of clients in this particular action, and we're representing these clients in the mass tort circumstance. And we want to explain to you why you want to choose one over the other, because I think there's a lot of people out there making a mistake with regards to the direction that they're going with their case. So there are advantages to class action litigation cases, right? It's very easy to sign up. A lawyer's going to probably have you fill out some minor paperwork, sign up, and then you're pretty much done, right? It's easy for you to participate in a class action situation. Legal costs can be lower, right? Because there's less litigation, there's less fighting with the other side, so your legal costs typically can be lower. It's less burden on the court also, right? Because again, the attorney that's representing that class is going to go in there, move forward with regards to making his arguments on behalf of the class, and then come up with a resolution and kind of distribute things from there. Nice and simple, right? Easy. Here is the biggest disadvantage that I see with a class action case is that you really don't get your day in court. Because if you've got this case that you feel strongly about and it's important to you, the class counsel typically is going to treat that case just like every other case. That the compensation and the money is going to be somewhat uniform, which means we're not going to get into the specifics of your case and those particular damages. You're going to get typically about the same result as most other people. That's why I really don't like the class actions. Class action resolution is going to be binding on all class members. So it is a done deal. Once you're in, once it gets done, it's over, said and done, and it's closed. So let's compare that to a mass tort case. A mass tort case is going to be more complicated, right? Because each case is going to be essentially reviewed and resolved on its own merits. Although the cases are grouped together, you're going to look and see at individual damages and see what's going on and what are the particular circumstances. And so you're going to get a much more of a fair shake with regards to the evaluation, but it's going to take more of your time. It's going to take more involvement, and it's going to be more costly. That's what I've seen with regards to the mass tort cases that I've been involved in. The other part, as you can well imagine, when you're digging into the details of each individual case and not treating everything the same as in class action, it's a lot more difficult to come up with a global settlement and a global resolution. It's going to take a lot more time, a lot more resources, and it's going to be a lot more costly to both sides to come to that resolution. But what I see that's really important is that the client typically gets a much better and fairer shake in terms of the resolution. And let's talk about that. One of the reasons why I stay away from class action cases is because you'll see many times that the attorney in charge is going to get hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars in fees, right? And then you look and see what each class member gets. A gift certificate to Walmart, a $25 check. Their compensation, typically speaking, is an absolute fraction of what happens on the mass tort side. And let me give you a perfect example. Many years ago, I resolved a sexual abuse case for 100 clients that I represented. I compared that with there was thousands of people on the class action side, right? And I saw the issues and problems that they went through. Many of them went through some of the same issues and problems that my clients went through. In fact, a couple of those clients, because of the work and things that were involved, opted out, or they got out of my mass tort case and opted into the class action. When it was all said and done, I want to say many of those class members, as related to the class action, got a resolution probably in the neighborhood of about $10,000 or so on average, something in that range. My clients settled out with an average of over $1 million in terms of a settlement on their behalf. $1 million. You can see that much of a difference between the class action and the mass tort. Now, of course, what happened thereafter, many of those clients like, hey, can I get back in? Can I do it? Once they made their decision to opt into that class action, it was over and done with. And that is why I stay away from the class actions, because if you look at the numbers, the attorneys made millions, and the clients walked away with very little. Yes, we made a very nice sum, but each one of our clients, we got their cases evaluated on their own individual merits, and we got them a really, really nice settlement that every single one of them was happy with. So I've made the decision after that to stay the heck away from class action cases. And although the mass torts are much more complicated, they take much longer, the results are often substantially better for the clients. And at the end of the day, that's the most important thing. Where are my clients going to benefit the most? And that's the route that we decide. So that's just my own take on it. I don't know whether you agree with it or disagree. I'd love to hear your comments. What is your history with either mass torts or class action cases? If you want to get involved in this Google case that we've got, give us a call. We'll give you the information. Take a look at the link below, click on it. It'll give you some information as to what's going on. But I'd love to hear your feedback with regards to your thoughts on class action cases versus mass torts. Tell me where I'm right, where I'm wrong. So hopefully you've learned something with regards to the thought process and what you should be thinking on as related to class actions versus mass torts. I thank you for listening. I'm going to appreciate it even more if you give me some comments and some feedback. I'm attorney Darren Miller, and you know what this is. DLAW.